Joining me on Startup Report, a first repeat guest from our very first episode, Rich Heruska, and a new Wave member, Lerah.
Okay.
Lerah Harris. Welcome.
Thanks.
So
Thanks for having me back.
You're welcome.
I thought I was just a guinea pig the first time.
How has your life changed since the first big episode?
It hasn't slowed down, I'll tell you that. It was the first chord of intensity in the ecosystem, and now it hasn't slowed down.
An autograph hand is still working and
Yeah,
everything?
you know,
now?
so working on that.
So let's catch up with the Wave. Obviously, let's start with this great new addition to the marketing team, taking some of the roles over from the infamous and highly lauded Shane Needham,
Right.
as he goes on to do his co-conspirator work. So talk about how you came to ride the Wave.
Well, I have known of the Wave and actually worked with the Wave back when I worked with Hillsborough County. And I feel like I have a deep entrepreneurial spirit. So was hoping to learn a little bit more for my own businesses and grow myself, and then also kind of get more tapped in with the community. So thought it was the perfect role.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for a better learning environment to get to see all these other companies and what they're doing and help them, and that can only make your skills better.
Yep.
So what's the latest? So new cohort coming down the pipe?
We sure do. We have our Tech Diversity Accelerator kicking off in Mid-Bay.
Mm-hmm.
This is the second year of the program backed by the Nielsen Foundation, and I think they like what we did year one.
Yep.
That they put an incremental $64,000 into this year, so it's $164,000 backed corporate accelerator program, and our goal was to double applications this year. We actually almost quadrupled it to 423 applications, and then we meet with 30 of those finalists this week. And then, of course, we'll make sure Catalyst is one of the first to know the ultimate selected companies.
That's great. And so applications are closed at this
They
point?
are closed. Yes, they are. And this is our first national program. So it's not just greater Tampa Bay area companies. It's throughout the nation. And we think the diversity of the group is bigger than before. And certainly these companies are even further along than maybe the initial cohort was. So yeah, soon enough, you'll be hearing the official word.
That's great. We'll look forward to that. So what will the logistics be like if a company is accepted and they're not locally based? Are they responsible then for finding their own way down in accommodations?
It's a great question. So the feedback from the first cohort was that they loved the program, they loved what we did, but they felt there was a little bit of a barrier from a travel perspective.
Right.
So the Nielsen Foundation, part of their incremental support was a $2,000 per company travel stipend. So that's going to be able to provide for most of their airfare, most of the hotels. And we're currently working with a local hotel to potentially provide the accommodations and for them to stay in as well to help make that $2,000 mileage even go further.
Well, I'm putting my media hat on, and that sounds like a reality TV show in the making right there.
We joked internally about a reality show with the life of a startup. Hey, maybe there's another funding opportunity there. So
a couple dozen diversity founders in a hotel room. Who know what could go wrong, right? Or what could go right?
I'm sure the foundation will, Yeah. So we couldn't be more excited. I mean, this is just our second year of the program. And they always say a lot of your referrals come from the alumni of a program. Mm-hmm. But the first group of 10 that we accepted in the inaugural cohort, they really spread the word through their networks. And so we're very flattered to have that amount of interest.
And what are some of the updates from the initial batch that went through the 10 last year?
We just talked about potentially doing a story on kind of a where are they now. One pretty relevant, exciting recent news is, a lot of companies are always raising capital, right? Well, I think a lot of us believe in the old traditional way of raising capital, which is get customers.
Right.
Guestbox it closed a pretty large customer.
Great.
That brought in some significant, kind of capital in the traditional sense of their company. Another company, Immerse Games, they got accepted in this program out of Buffalo. Mm-hmm. It was a $500,000 prize where they've actually relocated their company to Buffalo for the meantime, and they're continuing to grow as well. SensorMed, they're growing through their hospitals and the amount of doctors they support. So yeah, they're most of them are doing well. And the startup space can be a challenging space.
Sure.
So a few of them are still trying to find the right product market fit. But yeah, most of them are growing and on their way.
That's great. And Wave is very tied to Rise of the Rest, which is coming down the pipe. What's the latest and greatest from that effort?
So pretty exciting news. And I think it shows how quickly this market's emerging. I don't know if you knew, the first venue was a great location in town, and it had a capacity of 300 people for the main event. It got sold out in like 48 hours. And so they looked to us and we said, why don't we look at ConnectWise? great rise of the rest story. Founded in 1982, no outside capital, sold for over $1 billion. Long story short, ConnectWise is hosting the main event now, and it has a capacity over 600 people.
Nice.
And that's now since sold out.
Wow.
So,
That's great.
and so I think they're seeing, wow, the amount of movement and momentum in Tampa Bay is pretty incredible. So yeah, the real exciting part, I'm sure that you already know, because I believe you'll be attending the breakfast, is that we were very big on saying you can't do Tampa. It needs to be St. Pete, the entire Bay. So sincerely, we're excited how they're starting off in St. Pete and doing a leadership breakfast there. And then 4 of the 8 companies have involvement at the Tampa Bay Wave that were selected for the pitch competition.
That's amazing.
So one of our mentor companies was selected, 2 of our accelerator companies, one of our co-working companies.
Yeah, it's good. I was surprised. Some old dogs in there and some new ones in the selection. I think it ended up being a really cool mix. It's interesting to see the fresh eyes coming in and seeing all the companies, because we're so used to a lot of their stories, and when fresh eyes come in to see what they came out with, and I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's actually another pretty exciting update, is that Tampa technically was the 3rd largest applicant pool for the pitch competition across the state. But Orlando also had Gainesville and Tallahassee included in their numbers. And then Miami, I think, provided 10 more applications than we did. But think about it, the MSA is double the size of Tampa Bay.
So pound for pound.
So in my opinion, Joe, I think we won. But
I'll certify that.
Yeah. So right. All we need is another election scandal in Florida, But so it comes up in 2 weeks. And I mean, I'm so blown away the fact that Steve Case himself doesn't just spend a full day in Tampa Bay on a bus. This will be the 3rd day of a 5-day tour,
right?
Culminating in Puerto Rico. So yeah, we're when they look at an ecosystem, I mean, they shared the story recently how in Indianapolis, they of course gave a $100,000 check for the prize winner. They've since invested in 3 more companies from Indianapolis. So it's not one of those days where they just put their flagpole down for one day. It truly seems like that's an opportunity to come back and help catalyze our community. So. See what I did there?
Yeah, I did. 25 cents. It's funny because it doesn't get talked about a lot. My last corporate gig was a Steve Case company.
That's right.
He started. It was called Gratis Card when it first started. I was the 40th employee. And
is this what led into Revolution?
It led into Revolution. Yeah. So the big thing for the first whatever it was 6 months to a year is we had to earn the right to get the Revolution name, and so Ted Leonsis was involved. And I remember we waited and we did all these things and grew it to a certain point. And then Steve gave the blessing and it became Revolution Money at that point. And it was interesting. They were trying to disrupt the credit card payment space by going around the interchange system. And it was a true startup. I mean, it had the guy at the head of it, Jason Hogue, his dad, Russell Hogue, was the CEO, I believe, of MasterCard for about 10 years. And so definitely pedigree in the space. But all the trials and tribulations and bridge rounds and layoffs and all that good stuff. And eventually it sold to Amex for, I believe, $350 million. So, it's not, because it was sort of the big company that was funded outside and sold to a big company, but it was definitely for the day a pretty large exit. And but I remember, everything was really, it was a great environment to be in. It was certainly the way that he ran things it felt healthy even when it was stressful, and I have very good memories of being part of that group.
That's awesome.
And the footprint's still here actually. They as Amex they rebranded to Serve, and still had 3 floors in the downtown building, the Pretec Plaza or the 200 Central for a number of years, and still some of the remnants are still there. In fact, one of the guys at that company runs all of IT infrastructure for Amex at this point, based out of here. So he definitely has some little bit of roots in here from his previous investments. So cool. So what are you most looking forward to as you start down the road, other than gathering your own skills to?
I think it's a good opportunity to lay down some processes, kind of more internal things that will help smooth out some of the primary functions. So ultimately the goal is to get more people in the door, more tours, more traffic to our website, more publicity for our companies. So
And where do you go first for that?
I don't know. I'm still figuring it out.
Oh.
This is why we're bringing her in, Joe.
That was a softball question. Let's try that again. Where do you go first for that?
I don't know. Maybe St. Pete Catalyst.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, really it's a good working relationship too, because we work with Red Wall, who actually works out of our space, and Press PR, who works with us. And so it's a good partnership, even though I'm one man in this role, kind of got a lot of support. So
That's right. Yeah, Jared's great. Got to know him a little bit at Startup Weekend.
Yeah.
He's a hardworking guy, and he knows his stuff for sure.
Yeah, one thing that she's been incredible at from day one is so Basha, the other leader in the accelerator, was going to South by Southwest. And Leah's like, wait, you're doing some, blogging and some social. She's like, well, I wasn't. And she's like, no, you're now doing a blog. And this is pretty exciting, very current news. This week, Linda will be in Bahrain representing our country, the Global Entrepreneurship Congress, I believe is the name. And the minute Lerah heard about that, Linda, you're going to be blogging and writing about it. And then there's something upcoming, Rise of the Rest, that, I don't know if I had a chance to share, but they asked me to be on the bus.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I was very humbled, flattered, didn't see that coming. And guess who's going to have to be writing about that now? Lerah's looking at me. So, yeah, she sees how much amazing traction a lot of our companies have and things going on. And now it's just making sure we tell those stories, So, yeah, Shane definitely built a great bridge, and she's going to further expand on that. So, yeah, the amount of blogs you've already been writing and social, she's been rocking it. So.
That's great. That's great. You do have a lot of good stories to tell, so I'm glad they're getting out there.
Yeah. So, and then we'll be with the Tech Diversity cohort in mid-July, back for our St. Pete Day. And we don't have all the plans yet, so we'll be certainly keeping you and the team abreast. But definitely that pitch night was the largest one we ever had. Yep. So we'll hopefully build on that again this year. And
you're suggesting that we don't do our videos after the 2-mile walk in the dead of summer.
That catches the great glow of people. But we'd love for you if you could come to the kickoff week and kind of be a part of that, which we'll talk about maybe offline from the podcast. But I don't know if you had heard about that.
I did, yeah.
I mean,
thought I saw something.
I mean, it was incredible. I mean, JP from the St. Pete EDC, had a whole tour set up, but it was a walking tour.
Right.
A sweating tour.
Yeah. And then literally we had no time in between. Everybody gets done with the door and then is doing videos with the Cat House team. And then right after that, they did pitches at pitch night. So, yeah.
That's the kind of content I love.
Yeah. That's living real.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, it's great to have you back. Appreciate you starting things off with us. Appreciate you coming back and doing some more. And happy with the new edition. I think it's going to be great. Getting the stories out. And we'll be here to receive and amplify those stories for you.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.